Good morning, everyone. This is Alyssa, she, her pronouns. I am the Presence Collective Coordinator and Caverly Morgan's assistant. This is my first time hosting Caverly through this platform, so it's good to be here with you all. Caverly Morgan is the founder of Presence Collective and also the founder of Peace in Schools, and she will be leading us today through a guided 30-minute meditation, and then there will be time at the end for a Q&A. If that time comes and you have a question, you can do the Ask a Question button below, or you can use the chat box to ask to come on screen with Caverly. Before I bring her on screen, I just want to make a few announcements. First, thank you to Sangha Live. Thank you for being the host, and thank you for this platform. Sangha Live exists through donations from all of you. So if you have the means to donate, your donation goes to supporting the platform, the tech, the people who work for this platform, and the teachers. So you can use the Offer Donation Dana, the green button below, to offer your contributions. So some upcoming events that are coming up is Caverly leads Wednesday night sits every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. PST. It's a similar format to this, where it's a guided meditation, there's Q&A, and you have a chance to have more face-to-face time with Caverly, so that's tonight. Presence Collective is also doing webinars every single Thursday, 2 p.m. PST, and we are a diverse group of different teachers, wisdom traditions, and we advocate for collective liberation and social justice. So tomorrow is Michael Bodie, Heart of the Warrior, and he is a colleague of mine. Next week is Dr. Sarah King. She's going to do something in collaboration with someone who is part of the Heart Refuge. And the week after is Michelle Johnson. Both Dr. Sarah King and Michelle Johnson are Black women who I've personally learned from, and I think they are amazing. So please come to these webinars, come support. These are donation-based, no one turned away due to lack of funds. Last announcement I have is the summer retreat that we have upcoming July 26th to 31st. This one is also led by teachers in the collective. We have 4 different teachers from different backgrounds. We have the Shambhala tradition, we have Zen, non-dualism, Sufism, and movement. And this retreat is catered to work for different time zones since it's online. And I'm really excited about it. I think we've found something where we're trying to create a retreat and nourishing experience in the comfort of your own home. So I will include all of those links in the chat box after this. And now I'm going to bring Caverly on screen with me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for those announcements and for your presence.
Thank you.
See you soon. Friends, it's a delight for me to, in a sense, get to introduce you to Alyssa. I really enjoy working with Alyssa a lot, and I'm very grateful that she's stepping up to help out with this this platform, with sharing these teachings and being a support. Professionally, I think my life would fall apart if it weren't for Alyssa. She's an incredible assistant and support. And it is very exciting to see what's happening as we build out Presence Collective. Alyssa's had a big hand in how this is evolving. So, hi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thanks for saying hello in the sidebar. And thanks for being here. As always, thanks for your presence. Yeah. Spencer, thanks for just offering what you're present to in this moment. I want to invite others to do that as well. I did bring a poem I thought to share with the meditation, to share in the beginning of the meditation. And I thought it'd be nice, Spencer, since you started us off, just what are you present to in this moment? What's alive for you? Chime in on the sidebar, even if you haven't said hello yet. You could just write a word or 3 words or a phrase. What's here now? Spencer, you're acknowledging feeling deep hurt about the racism in our country, in our world. Linda, you're wondering, how's everyone feeling? So yes, Joyce, uncertainty. Kiki, good morning from rainy Granada. Christine, feeling excited about the powerful protests that are gaining traction and momentum. Yes, as many of you know, we focused the last 2 mornings on hope. Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that. Hello from South Sea, Ian. Hi again, Mimosa. You're excited by the protests and your family's involvement. Hopeful for change, Erica. Charlie, present to inherent responsibility to emanate joy and unabashed happiness despite all the turmoil surrounding us. Warmth, sunlight of hope. Thank you, John. Renewal, Ellen. Yeah, thank you. Friends, thanks for saying hello. Sharing. Lindsay, feeling so worried that we are headed for more COVID deaths and do not want that for all those protesting, especially communities of color. Linda, feeling anger about the transfer of wealth to executives while I have all but furloughed. Yeah, thank you, Linda. You're not alone. Mary Jane, grateful for this platform to gather strength from the community. Ian, on a personal level, reassured about measures in place to return to work. Yeah, good. Ellen, we can do this together. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to end with that one. Thank you. As we transition into the morning sit, I want to acknowledge that as there are activists on the call, there are folks who are really involved on front lines, there are folks who are just involved through following along and offering support in the ways that are suitable for their lives, maybe as a single parent or someone as a single parent and working. So many, there's no one right way to be right now. I feel that I'm sort of stating the obvious here, but it can be a nice reminder that there's no one right way to be. There's no one right way to express your love and care and deepest understanding of our inherent interconnection. I trust if you're on this call, you care about liberation, well-being for all. So I wanted to remind us that as you're engaged, as you're involved in whatever way that's manifesting, to give your attention also to remembering truth on the deepest level. For many of you, you might just describe it as to practicing. The swirl of energy around us, the swirl of the movements of events and activities, the news is something that it can be quite easy to become deeply swept up in. That's not bad or wrong. But pay close attention during this time to when it feels, if there is a moment, that it feels like you might abandon center or presence in the name of maybe a pressure to join the swirl, a sense of It would be selfish of me to focus on presence while all this is going on. Remember that I say remember if you've been joining these calls, one of the things we've talked about it is how it's not dualistic. So the poem I brought today speaks to remembrance in the midst of all of this. And thank you, Christine, for acknowledging that you're moved by all these responses. And Deborah, for your acknowledgement of gratitude and peacefulness. We'll focus on that today. Again, as nourishment, as food for our capacity to be in the world, in whatever way being in the world is manifesting for you. So come into the position that works best for you for today's sit. Taking 3 of the longest and deepest inhalations and exhalations you've taken yet today. This is a poem by Liesl Mueller called Monet Refuses the Operation. Doctor, you say there are no halos around the streetlights in Paris. And what I see is an aberration caused by old age and affliction. I tell you, it has taken me all my life to arrive at the vision of gas lamps as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges you regret I don't see. To learn that the line I called the horizon does not exist, and sky and water so long apart are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see ruined cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun. And now you want to restore my youthful errors, fixed notions of top and bottom, the illusion of 3-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the bridge it covers. What can I say to convince you? The House of Parliament dissolved night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames. I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands We're not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches, becomes water, lilies on water, above and below water, becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps. Not sure that's an unfamiliar word to me, friends. Small fists passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long streaming hair inside my brush to catch it, to paint the speed of light. Our weighted shapes, these verticals, burn to mix with air and change our bones, skin, clothes to gases. Doctor, if you could only see how heaven pulls earth into its arms and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world, blue vapor without end. So, friends, with all that's going on in the world and in your personal lives, allow this meditation to be a meditation of remembrance. Remember, for example, to see beauty. I first heard this poem I shared with you today years ago, and I was so moved by the shifting of perception, the recognition that what a doctor is calling a problem to an artist is glorious. This blurring of hard edges. Find that without having to lose your eyesight. Find that even now by releasing the hard line that you might call the edge of your body in relationship to the space around you. Rather than feeling your heart as a separate, contained organ in the body, blood pumping through tight little arteries and vessels. Soften the heart. Feel the heart. Expanding, the edges softening, blurring. Blood from the heart infusing everything. Rather than viewing the breath as something that comes through the nose, travels down the throat into this solid form called lungs. Feel the breath infusing your body from all directions, releasing from the body in all directions. When I first heard this poem years ago, it reminded me that what we're conditioned to strive for is not usually the same as what we most deeply long for. Often we long for the byproduct of what we strive for. So if I'm striving for success, it's because I believe that that will finally make me happy. What I long for is actually the happiness. What I've always loved about this poem is that Monet's naming this experience of remembrance that's a satiation of the longing. Hard edges blurring, the world softening. Light becoming everything it touches. In these times of upheaval and uncertainty, can you too give your attention to the way in which light becomes everything it touches? As light touches the body, now allow light to become the body it already is. You're simply seeing it. Allow light to touch these objects that surround you, these seemingly separate objects. This teacup, this bell, whatever is near you. Notice how light touches it and becomes it. If your eyes have been closed, open them and gently look around your space. Light becoming what it touches. Allow the edges of everything you see to soften. And then when you're ready, closing the eyes again or gazing down at a 45-degree angle. as we settle into the last portion of the sit in silence together. Notice how light touches silence. How light touches stillness. How light touches being. Friends, thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for posting. Alyssa, thank you for posting the summer retreat dates, information about tonight's webinar, time to gather. And thank you to Sangha Live. Again, we wouldn't be here without this wonderful platform. So if you can donate, please do now. Green button below. Friends, what shall we discuss today? What's alive in your practice? What's here now? Sharon, Christopher, first, thank you. Sharon, poem title, please. Yes, let me go back to it. I want to make sure I get it right. Yes, Monet Refuses the Operation is the title of the poem. Lisa Mueller. Erica, connected to the mystery of and the gift of life. What came to mind is a saying I read somewhere: peace is the natural consequence of the evolution of human consciousness. I am so with you, Erica. And I absolutely, Erica, agree and love your bringing in of the term mystery. You can feel mystery infusing the poet's words, can't you? When we're seeing objects as separate and matter as hard and fixed and real, rather than recognizing the consciousness out of which matter arises, we're forgetting the mystery. We're bypassing the mystery. Thank you, Erica, for writing that in. John, humanity softening its hard edges, losing its sense of superiority, separation dissolves. Exactly, John. Exactly. This bringing in of this poem, which again, I first heard it, my friend Paula Berenson read it to me years ago. And I've been reminded of it many times over the years, because it does, John, point to what you're pointing to, this capacity for us to soften our view of edges, to release our conditioned tendency to cling to separation. And yes, not only seeing objects as separate, but seeing each other as separate. Superiority only exists within the realm of separation. You can't have power over when you've released the view of over-under. So what do we create societally, for example, when we're not starting the creation, we're not building from the distortion of separation? Thank you, Joyce, for chiming in that you think that's a beautiful poem. Linda, realizing that all feelings, all experiences are entry points into everything. Thus, there is no reason to judge anything. Beautiful, Linda. I'm with you. What shifts when we see everything as an entry point into everything? That sentence means very little out of context, doesn't it? Everything is an entry point to everything. But it's true. Things shift when we move through the world from that intention. And it's true, there's no life for judgment there. Thank you, Linda. Sandy. Again, I apologize for more impersonal off-screen format. No worries, Sandy, at all. But it does remind me that I didn't mention, if this is your first time here, I'd love to see you on screen. If you'd like to come on, you can just type that in the sidebar, and you will be brought on magically. So, Sandy, you're wondering how my conditioned mind can refocus from overwhelmingly seeing life's unavoidable problems and releasing them from carrying them on my shoulders. Sandy, rather than trying to get the conditioned mind to refocus, I want to invite you to practice, as we did in this meditation, simply softening the conditioned mind. Softening. You know how when you're identified with the conditioned mind, thoughts feel rigid, hard, like they have tight edges. Visualize now softening that activity. And rather than thinking of it as, now I need to refocus, just as that softens, much like a camera aperture, just allow what's been out of view when you've been identified with that tight activity in the mind. Just allow what's been out of view to be revealed. Focusing on one small problem can be like that identification. I'm only focused on this one thing. All I can think, breathe, eat, sleep, do is chew on this one thing. You can feel the tightness. We get told by our conditioned world that if we soften that, if we relax that, it will equate not caring or not having the capacity to do or move or act. It's not true at all, actually. In fact, our movement changes when it's allowed to be infused with this remembrance of our deepest knowing, the knowing that these problems aren't separate, tight, contained structures, that these objects around us aren't separate, that we aren't separate, that our being is shared. So if you catch yourself, you can catch, Sandy, I think you were part of the process content sessions. If you can catch yourself in that process, late May, we did process content sessions 4 in a row. So if you're new to the call, you could check out those recordings if you're wondering what I'm referring to. But Sandy, if you can catch yourself in the process of carrying the world, the weight of these problems on your shoulders, then you can know, I'm here. I'm in this part of the process. It's a disservice in practice that we've been conditioned to view acting in the world as separate from our own practice. So many of us feel as though we have this choice of either being an activist or being a spiritual practitioner. A practitioner dedicated to remembering truth of oneness, for example. What changes when we realize that remembering the truth of oneness is the seat from which we are acting? What changes when those things, those entry points, if you will, aren't seen as separate or dualistic? Thank you for writing in, Sandy. I appreciate that. Spencer, what is alive for me is how essential it is for all of us to let go of our ego's stubborn refusal to return home. Spencer, it's the ego is a created form. Your words are giving it too much credit, as if you're waiting for this illusion to do something. There isn't anywhere but home in truth. It's okay for the ego to be stubborn as long as it wishes, but we don't have to believe it. Again, Spencer, you might want to explore when you say we don't have to believe it. Question who this we is. It's not about our liberation as much as for the liberation of all. I'm not saying this as someone who has awakened, but one who still believes the mind daily. I say this for myself and now, and for each person here, now is the time. Yes, Spencer, I mean, now is always the time. That's an important reminder for sure. Now is the time, because there is no time and there is only now. Pay close attention, Spencer. We've had some exchanges, so I enjoy knowing that you'll find this an interesting place of inquiry. Pay attention to who frames it all. what part of you names the ego as stubborn, suggests that the ego is refusing to return home, suggests that we don't have to believe it again. Who is the we? Attend to that process, if you will. And Joyce, thank you for listing these sessions, the process content sessions. If you are new and you didn't get to see those and you want to be caught up in the way that I will often be referencing process versus content, those sessions were May 21, 22, 25, 26. Thank you. So Spencer, perhaps I'll get to see you tonight in the Wednesday evening group. You've been coming there some, and we could unpack this a bit more. But Spencer, you said, yes, I get it. I really, I get it. Yes. Thank you, Spencer. Thanks for the engagement. And thanks for reminding me that we do have this group tonight. It's through Zoom, so I get a chance to more easily be in dialogue with those who show up. And you're also always welcome to come to any group and be silent. Never write in, never speak, never call in. That's fine too. Everyone is welcome here. Thank you for your presence. And thank you again for your support of Sangha Live and for these, for the support for the flourishing of teachings in our world right now. And specifically, as I've mentioned, I've referenced Thich Nhat Hanh many times. You know, he said the next Buddha will be Sangha. So specifically for your contribution to this community of people who practice together, just through your presence. Thank you. Last thing that I do want to mention before I hop off today is that as Alyssa said, I'm quite excited about our summer retreat. We have 4 teachers coming together, and I'm very, I'm eager to see how we might create something quite different than many of you have been attending various summits. I know I've been part of many conferences. They've been lovely. And I've joked a bit about how it can feel a little bit like a spiritual circus, like you're just watching presenter after presenter after presenter. This retreat will feel quite different from that. It'll be a real opportunity for immersion and practice. So please do check out the details. Alyssa, if you could post that one more time, just the details about our summer retreat in July. I'd love to encourage you to join if it can work with your schedule. It's deeply affordable. All right, Charlie, today was beautiful. Caverly, I love softening my heart and feeling it blur with all other parts of me. Lovely. Thank you, Charlie. And Linda, thank you. All right, thank you so much. There is the summer retreat link. And oh yes, Jessica, this is the first time you've heard the next Buddha would be Sangha. And in my heart, there are a bunch of somersaults, and you felt a dancing with joy. Jessica, thank you. Yes, it's just such a lovely, lovely quote. I'm glad I got to share that with you, given that you've not heard that. It's important, especially in this time. Thank you, Kiki, and thank you all.